Hello, I'm Randy Brown. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I apologize for the outdoor shoot, but I had all kinds of technical problems trying to shoot indoors. If I get a chance, I'll reshoot this indoors. In the meantime, please bear with me, and now, on to the video. If you're not familiar with the use of the popular game of bingo to help teach English to ESL students, you might want to see part 1 of this series. This video is about how to use bingo to teach mathematics, such as probability, statistics, and even calculus. Aside from the simple bingo game already discussed, we can easily create variations of bingo to help ESL students develop their skills in more advanced mathematics, and also in physics, chemistry, and economics, to name just a few other school subjects. For example, consider the question shown here, which is a typical problem studied in pre-calculus courses as well as in science classes. You can pause this video and try to answer the question yourself if you wish, so I won't take the time right now to read or solve the problem. But the answer to this question is shown somewhere on this bingo card. It's 4.8. And if this question were part of a bingo game for pre-calculus students, then a student using this card could play that square in response to the question, as shown here. However, the bingo game I'm now describing somewhat changes the way the bingo game needs to be played. Unlike simpler versions of bingo, we cannot expect students to answer questions within just a few seconds, at least in most cases. Using bingo games to develop student abilities in more advanced subjects can slow down the pace of the game, among other problems. Fortunately, we can address these issues by changing how the bingo game is played. Here are some ideas to consider for adapting bingo for more advanced subject classes. Some of these ideas I've actually used myself for bingo in my own classes, while others are things I'm still considering. First, in-class games for young ESL students are a great idea and quite common. But for older students, in-class games might not be the best use of class time. It might be best to have older students participate in bingo tournaments outside of class, but there are exceptions, and in a little while I'll give an example of a very useful bingo game where students can answer questions quickly in class. Second, teachers can hand out supplemental materials before bingo play, and I'll spend a little time on this point because the use of supplemental materials has a huge impact on whether bingo is valuable for ESL teaching and learning. Supplemental materials can include things like worksheets or cheat sheets. Also, teachers might give out question sheets, and during the game, the questions could be called out by a number. This avoids the need to write much on the blackboard or whiteboard during the game. But there's a huge drawback to this. If a lot of information is written down for student benefit, ESL students would not hear their teachers speak English very much during the game. This can reduce the value of English language immersion classes, for example. That means this kind of bingo game tends to benefit specific subject learning, but at the expense of English oral skill development. I think the lesson to take away from this is that when using games for older ESL students, ESL teachers need to balance English learning against subject learning and also balance those two things against the teacher's own workload. Third, teachers can divide the class into teams and give a bingo card to each team. The first team to solve enough problems to get 3 in a row on their bingo card would be the winning team. Fourth, in preparing for my own ESL classes in China, I found that creating certain types of bingo cards by hand became a problem, especially for my larger classes with 20 or more students. I found that using computer software to automate the design of bingo games greatly reduces class preparation time. There are websites for ESL bingo card design which are very helpful, but I had to write some additional software myself to efficiently develop some of the highly specialized bingo games that I used in my classes in China. Returning to some more examples of bingo for mathematics, the bingo cards shown here can be used for games in probability and statistics, where solutions can be expressed as percentages. And the bingo cards shown here can be played by students studying calculus. I'm showing this particular bingo game card because it's an exception to what I said earlier about students not being able to answer questions within a few seconds. Even though calculus is the most advanced math class taken by many high school students, calculus students must still be able to solve certain problems very quickly. Otherwise, without fast response to certain questions, those students won't do as well on calculus tests such as the Advanced Placement or AP Calculus exam. Here is an example of a bingo question that helps calculus students to develop their speed and accuracy in finding so-called antiderivative functions. The question can be read out loud to benefit students' English listening comprehension. Success on the AP Calculus exam, as well as on the exams given in typical calculus classes, require students to be able to find many of these so-called antiderivative functions very quickly during the test. Otherwise, they won't have time to solve the more difficult problems on the exam. Now, referring back to our Calculus Bingo game card, the antiderivative functions are: there's one, there's another, and also, whoops, not quite, almost though. A common mistake made by calculus students is exactly what is showing on this sample bingo card. The function outlined in red is not one of the answers to the question, but it is close to being correct. For those of you familiar with calculus, you will note that the arithmetic sign is wrong for the function shown in red. Too bad for this student, he or she almost won bingo with just one question. So, this student can only play two of the three functions on the diagonal of the bingo card. This variant on bingo illustrates a fun and easy way for calculus students to develop speed and skill to prepare for exams like the AP Calculus exam. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you got some ideas for using bingo in your own ESL teaching. Feel free to subscribe to this channel, and I hope to see you next time.